Welcome to the Monks Academy, an educational channel where we explore the realm of decentralized finance so you can take charge of your financial future. A project powered by the Omm Monks for the Omm Finance community. Hey guys, welcome to another session, Omm Finance tutorial session on the Monks Academy. It's great to have you, Stephen, back on the show, and really looking forward to this session. Yield farming strategies. I know we've got some updates on Optimus, and obviously we'll be speaking on the airdrop and airdrip info, and their new strategies, their fin distribution. So quite a few things to discuss. And of course, we won't miss out. We will also be touching on strategies for Omm Finance. The yields of USDC and USDS has really amped up. So we'll be kind of sharing our thoughts on how people can be kind of, reduce their risk and things like that. So really important session. Stephen, thanks again for being here, and over to you.
Thank you, and you're welcome. So let me start by sharing my screen. Right, can everybody see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet? Might take a few seconds.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Good to go then. All right. So the reason I wanted to talk about Optimus today was the release of Icon 2.0, which is many projects have been waiting for it to happen, and holding off with the release of their products until 2.0 was live. So this is now ticked off, and we are now maybe waiting for a few days, maybe a week or so, to see whether it's stable or not. But I'm expecting that some projects that were waiting for it to start their launch will be getting ready. And what we know from Optimus is that they have already done their first testnet phase. I am logged into it, and I will be sharing it a bit later, so you can already see the look and feel for the first testnet. After 2.0, we know that they are going to do a second testnet for a short while, which will be reflecting more even the final version. And so we are waiting for that to participate in on that second testnet. So this has yet to happen. And then soon after, we are expecting mainnet release. So another reason I wanted to talk about Optimus today is also because there was some information released previously, which was then changed, a lot of back and forth. So a lot of info was not, that has already been shared throughout the community, also by myself, is no longer up to date because some changes were made. So I wanted to have an update on that as well. So let's start with giving a brief introduction what Optimus is for the ones that do not know it yet. So it's a yield optimizer, which will manage your ICX via certain strategies, which you are able to choose. Initially, they will focus on balanced strategies and following later with Omm. So, of course, initially it will be within the Icon ecosystem, but through BTP, we are expecting also that it will be working cross and leveraging cross-chain opportunities as well. So this will be very exciting for the future. So what I wanted to do, the first release version will only include balanced strategies, and this is something that was already communicated previously. And the Omm strategies will only follow for the second mainnet release. So the two confirmed strategies for balanced is the borrow strategy, as we know it. You supply ICX and you can borrow BNUSD, and you mine Balm token doing this. So this is one strategy. Optimus will be managing your position and making sure that you have an optimal way of both earning Balm, also not crossing the threshold in which you do not longer earn Balm, and of course also make sure that you do not get liquidated. And then there is some game thought of course behind it, because every time you take out a loan, you're paying a small fee. So you cannot change your position too often, because every time paying back your loan and borrowing again, there needs to be some thought in it, because every time you're paying the fee of minting the BNUSD. So this is something that a completely dedicated strategy that Optimus will manage. And then the second strategy is the providing liquidity in the dedicated ICX pool. So it's not the liquidity pools that we know of, the traditional liquidity pools in which you have two separate assets and which have a risk for impermanent loss. This liquidity pool does not have impermanent loss because you only have one asset, and it's the ICX. It's the liquidity pool allowing people to exit also their loans easily. So those two are the least risky strategies that are currently existing for balanced as well, and Optimus has chosen to start with the least risky ones. In the second phase, more LP pairs strategies can be added, and also, of course, what we know that Omm strategies will also follow. What the first Omm strategies are that they are going to launch is not known yet. It might also be a low risk one, for example, supplying ICX for the small yield that you have at the moment, and also, of course, mining the Omm rewards. And maybe they will also have a strategy in which you are dedicated to just mining the Omm rewards by balancing your supply and your borrow side. This could be a strategy that they are doing, but as I said, not yet confirmed. So what information was shared previously and has now been changed? So first I will say what the initial decision was. Initially, the FIN, which is the governance token of Optimus, would be distributed only from the second release version, which would then also include the Omm strategies. So between the first and the second release, no FIM would be distributed or be accrued. This was what was said initially. This has now been changed. So as from the launch of the first mainnet, which is only the two balance strategies, FIN distribution will already be happening. So it's an important one. If you were saying, I'm sitting it out until they are going to start with the FIN distribution, so I'm not going to partake until then, be aware it will happen as from launch with the balanced strategies already. Then another decision that the team had previously communicated for the borrow strategy on balanced, they have stated that they would be rebuying SICX when you would be when your collateral was sold due to the rebalancing effects on balanced. But they have decided against it. Also, after talking with Scott, they have come to realize that doing this on a large scale would create a rebalancing loop, and then yeah, of course, you would keep getting rebalanced if everyone keeps buying back their SICX on balanced. I know people do not like it, seeing their ICX dropping due to rebalancing, but the best way to combat rebalancing is by taking advantage of your collateral being sold at a premium and go buy new ICX on a central exchange. So not on balanced, but on with BNUSD, but on a central exchange. However, this is a service that Optimus, of course, cannot provide its users. They cannot go buy with your fiat or with your other stablecoins on a central exchange. This is not something that they can manage. So what they came up with, not confirmed yet, but they're looking into it. And this is the second best option to combat rebalancing, is to have, and Scott has also shared tweets about it, is to have a combination of borrowing strategy and also providing liquidity in the BNUSD SICX pool. I'm not going to go into full detail how this works. Scott has shared good tweets about it, how it works, and you can also read it on the Balanced forum. But this is something that actually Optimus could do. Again, they haven't decided yet how they will do it. Will it just be a combination strategy? One strategy which will manage already how much of your ICX will go to the borrowing and how much will go to the liquidity providing in the BNUSD SICX pool, or whether they are going to create just two separate strategies and they leave it up to you how to determine how much you should put in which strategy. In my opinion, they should do a combination strategy because I think calculating the ideal weight of your ICX in borrowing and in LP, I think this is a good role for Optimus to play. This is also something that I proposed on their forum. So we will be going through it later. This is on the community forum of Optimus. You can propose strategies and they can be upvoted, and then they could go live, or they could go live first if it's upvoted a lot. So if you have a preferred strategy that you want to see launched on next, an LP pool on Balanced, or maybe something on Omm that you would like to see added first, it's a good idea to go to the Optimus forum and post it there. So let's talk about the airdrop and the airdrip. So this is also something that people might be interested in. So there are two things. There is one, the airdrip. The airdrip is what we know from Balanced and from Omm. You just have to have your ICX staked and voted for a PREP, and you will be able to claim it on a weekly basis. As with all airdrips, of course, using your ICX on the platform itself will generate a lot more of the governance token than just claiming the airdrips. But it's a low risk thing that even if you have something on Balanced and on Omm, but you also have a second wallet just staked for safety purposes, and you don't want to be all in on those DeFi platforms, and you can also go and use that part and claim your airdrip. Now, there is also an airdrop. And from what we have seen with the Omm launch, there were some requirements to be eligible for the airdrop, and there was also a cutoff date. So the cutoff date was, I don't know the exact, it was 16th of October. That was the date. Was the cutoff date that you, people that have not been doing the requirements, they will not be able to register anymore for this airdrop. So the requirements was joining the Optimus community forum, which is the link that you see here, the MOIM. This is something that they developed themselves. Maybe let's also give some more information about that, because many people have been complaining about MOIM because they see many of the icon projects going to Discord. And they're saying, why are you not on Discord? It's so easy that all the projects are now on Discord. But I think it's also a good decision that the team made. It's something that they developed from the ground up completely themselves. One of the reasons is also to combat bots. And yeah, I think it's a good thing that we have in our community, people building new and trying new type of stuff, building it from the ground, and maybe see whether it works, and see whether there are advantages to the existing solutions, the centralized solutions that most of us are using today. So just a side note about the community forum of Optimus. The second thing that you needed to do was to participate in the first testnet and deposit ICX in a strategy. I will be switching to that testnet a bit later to show you how the look and feel of it. And of course, it needed to be the same wallet you will be using on the mainnet. There are faucets for testnet tokens that you can claim. I think Ibris has one. There is one second one, I think from I'm not sure, another PREP team that also has a faucet to claim testnet tokens. And then, of course, you needed to participate in the first mainnet version. Here, they haven't. I thought that they changed it. They were going. This is wrong. I told it to them because it's now with a Fin token. Maybe I need to refresh, and then it's not changed yet. Okay, they were going to change this because initially, like I said, the decision was not yet to launch it with the Fin token, but it has now been changed, and we'll be seeing it on the community forum. That message as well a bit later. And deposit ICX in a strategy. So these were the three things that you needed to do to be eligible. But again, you have had to do it before October 16th. Yeah, I don't know how it works. Yeah, I think most of it is quite clear. This is just based on just the two balanced strategies that we discussed. You are the user, you send your ICX to Optimus. Optimus sends it. You choose your strategy at the moment, and then Optimus will send it to balanced, either to borrow, either to send it to the LP pool, and you will be getting your BAL rewards back, including the Fin rewards. This is how it works. And then the BAL that you get back, you will have to go. You decide what you do with it, of course. You sell it or you just stake it on balance yourself. You will not be able to stake BAL token on the Optimus platform. You will have to do it on the native protocol. It will also be the same with the Omm that you will be earning. So yeah, the strategies we already mentioned: the borrow and the liquidity, the rewards, so the Fin token. And of course, the rewards, the platform tokens that you are mining, like we just discussed. Regarding the Fin distribution, let me see, I think I can show it here. Tokenomics, yes. So the tokenomics is there will be 10K, 10,000 Fin each day for the first 30 days. And as from the 31st days, a daily decrease of 0.5% will happen until the minimum of 1,250 Fin per day is reached perpetually. I did the calculation, just so you know, the 1,250 will be reached after 445 days. So 1.5 years before we go to the lowest inflation of the Fin token, which I've sent a tweet just to compare, just so you know how it compares. It's quite low, the Fin, so it's important to understand this when you look at valuing it. If you can look at it after a year, after 5 years, you can see Fin after 5 years will only be 2.5 million. BAL will be 26 million. Omm will be 392 million. Equality is subject to change. They still have to launch probably after Optimus. And they were still working on their token economics. What I took from here is what they had on their white paper when it was still live, and it was the same, as you can see, the same distribution schedule as balanced. But again, subject to change, we don't know yet. But it might give an indication, of course, of what their plans will be. Then the distribution of the Fin token, 30% will go to the liquidity providers, 20% for the worker tokens, which is the people that are building the platform, and 15% for the insurance and auditing fund, and 35% for the DAO fund. So as you can see, 35% will be locked into the DAO fund, plus 15% as well. So it's already 50% of already a low supply, which will be locked away for the Fin token holders to vote on how to use. So it might be become a quite scarce asset. Keep this in mind on evaluating it. Let's see. This is the Optimus Community Forum. In the announcements is what you can see here regarding the airdrop, which I just shared, and also regarding the rebalancing info that I just shared that they would no longer be doing, and also info regarding the second testnet, which is the Sejong testnet. So I would, even if you are too late for the airdrop, I would still recommend joining this because especially take a look in the announcements from time to time to get the latest information if you're interested in the launch of Optimus. Then let's go to, this is give you an idea of the look and feel. Of course, it can still change. This is just the first testnet version. The second testnet version might already look a little different. So this is the home page. I'm just going to log into my ledger again. So maybe I still have a small balance of 50 ICX. I can use it to deposit. And then you can also see how it works. Just logging into my ledger now. All right, good. So this is the main page. I've already played around with some testnet. So I already supplied 30K of ICX on the testnet. Take in mind those percentages, they are not realistic at all. There might be some testnet whales that are skewing the percentages because they are looking very low, of course, but this is not something that you should be looking at in the testnet. Just it gives you a good idea of how it will be working, and then you're ready for the launch. The wallet is here. You can see all the daily rewards that you are getting, and you see how much you deposited in ICX. You see what you still have available, and the rewards when you still have them in your wallet, in the same wallet, of course. Yeah. Then, this invest. If you click here, invest assets, you go to the third tab, and here is a short instruction on what to do. So the first is select a strategy, which you can do here below in the slider. I think they will make it more clear also when there are more platforms, when Omm is launched, when maybe even equality strategies are launched, that they will have to make it much more clear, the strategies, that it's a balanced strategy or an Omm strategy. So I think this is still subject to change, but you can choose providing liquidity. So here I've already supplied this much, so I can increase and then submit. I can increase with 30 ICX. All right, and then it's already in the strategy. You can switch to the borrow strategy. You can choose in percentage how much you want to add, or you can type it in the field, or you can click here to add more and then submit. So, and again, so this is it's quite easy. There's not many bells and whistles like you see in Balanced or in Omm. But it's not really required, of course, because you just need to know what the strategies mean, how they work, and on Balanced or on the native platforms, on Balanced and on Omm. And then you just have to choose the strategy, allocate the amount of ICX you want, and that's it. In the future, of course, if there are other strategies, at the moment there's only strategies with ICX, but I'm assuming there will also be stablecoin strategies when Omm is when the Omm strategies are going live. That more assets will be able to be deposited, like BNUSD, USDC, USDS. And then again, it will have to be changed here. So this is the information that I wanted to share today regarding Optimus. Maybe take some time before we go on to what we wanted to share regarding Omm. And maybe see whether there are some questions for people in the audience regarding what I've been sharing about Optimus.
Yeah, guys, if there's any questions, go ahead. But I just want to stress what Stephen mentioned regarding airdrips and airdrops and the importance of not putting everything into a DeFi platform. Obviously, we are we are ambassadors for Omm and it's DeFi platform, but it's very, very important. I mean, a lot of people underestimate the risks, smart contract risk. It's there, and it's very important that you shouldn't put all your eggs in a DeFi platform. So it's important to take advantage of an airdrip from your comfy home of your own wallet. So that's very important.
Just to note, to add onto that, all of the platforms of ICANN are they are checked by Slowmist, which is audited by Slowmist. So it's a well-known audit firm. But of course, there are always risks involved. I think ICANN takes the time to release products. They are audited quite and tested quite well. Compared to other ecosystems where you see many breaches, but it doesn't mean that there no exploit can be found. So I would echo the sentiment of Varosh. I also don't have all my ICX on Balanced or on Omm. Even the majority I have not in those. So I think I have 30% split on Balanced and on Omm, and 70% of my ICX I have just staked and voted. So yeah, it's about risks, and each has to determine for themselves how they manage it.
Yeah, and also it was good to see Immunify with Balance. You know, they've bumped up the bounty to $200,000. So I think that's an important step.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it can only help. That might also be something that that we will be voting on for Omm in the future, maybe.
Yeah, but I think for Omm it's going to be 50,000, or maybe I'm mistaken, but I think that's something that
it might already be higher. You mean, or
yeah, could be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So then, if there are no further questions regarding Optimus, I will be moving on to Omm. Yeah, of course, on Omm, except what is being voted on or has been voted on is the addition of BNUSD, which we are all, I'm sure, many are awaiting. This is just wanting to stress And I think this is very important to stress it and then to understand that we are very lucky at the moment with having stablecoins which have high yields on Omm. As you can see here, these are the yields without the Omm rewards calculated: 47% on USDS, 66% on IUSDC. This is very high. I hope people understand this. As you know, if you look at the traditional banking system, even if you look at ecosystems like Terra Luna, which is having a stable 20% interest, and which is given them such a spotlight, and then has drawn so many capital towards their ecosystem, that we should be very lucky that we're having this in our ecosystem at the moment, because this is something important to draw in additional capital from other ecosystems, especially when BTP is live. It will become much easier, but also for the people within our own ecosystem. Instead of saving in fiat, you can do it in stable coins. Because it's a diversification from an investment in ICX, for example, which is much more volatile. So it's a good diversification. But also, if you are going to take profits on your ICX or on any of your other, or your BAL or Omm, I don't know, more volatile stablecoins, keep in mind how many good options that we have. Low risk being apart from the exploits, of course, that we were sharing a bit earlier, but low volatility. No impermanent loss, no liquidation if you just supply. This is very important. If you're taking profits, don't. You can go and cash it to USDC and put it on Celsius or on IconFi, for example, which are more centralized options. But here you have much higher yields in a decentralized option. So I just wanted to stress this. We will be seeing. I don't know what the yield will be on BNUSD when it launches. I think the demand to supply will be high, especially for the people who are doing the BAL mining via borrowing and not really using their BNUSD in the moment, who are just sitting it in their wallet just to mine the BAL, and not to take leverage by supplying in LP or by buying ICX to get additional leverage. Those people will be very happy to supply it here. So let's hope we have a decent borrow demand as well, and we can have a third asset in our ecosystem, stablecoin, which supplies us very high yields. That would be very good. And I think I've talked about it in the past. Some people have said, why do we need 3 stable coins? I think every one of those 3 are very valuable, and they are a very good asset to our ecosystem. BNUSD being the only, or the only crypto-backed stablecoin in our ecosystem. Currently only ICX, but via BTP, more other collateral options will follow from other ecosystems, or maybe even BAL will be used as a collateral option to diversify the collateral backing. And don't forget, Scott has already said that he sees BNUSD becoming the most diversified stablecoin before end of the year. So that's already a big statement that he made a few weeks ago. So this makes me very bullish on BNUSD and our ecosystem. And of course, USDS. It's a fiat off-ramp, very easy for the people with a USD bank account, low fees. The others, like myself, who have a Euro bank account or other fiat currencies, which are not USD, yes, if we use it, if we use stably to send it back to our bank account, it's a higher fee, and you also have the conversion fee from dollar to your native your own fiat currency. But still, it doesn't take a very long time with this type of APY to earn back those fees, both supplying and withdrawing. So keep this in mind. If even if it's not by selling crypto assets, if you have fiat and you say, okay, on my bank account it's not really earning me much. Try it. Keep it. Try stably. Try the bridge. See what you like best. It's just something nice to have, and it's something that we have in our ecosystem. So if you're currently using Celsius or Nexo or other platforms, don't forget we have very high yields here, much higher than they have at the moment. And of course, IUSDC, which is quite easy because you can bridge it back to the Ethereum and use it there whenever you like via the Orbit chain protocol. So this is something that I wanted to stress also today on Omm, which is often overlooked, I think. Yeah, this is what I wanted to share with you today. I don't know whether Arosh has something to add or whether people in the audience have any more questions.
Yeah, I think anyone has any questions, please go ahead, and do share your thoughts. But yeah, I just wanted to just add on, just to kind of before we started, I think me and Steven were just talking about why there was a spike in USDS and IUSDC. It's just mainly due to the fact that how the calculations for the APY comes about. It's mainly to do with the utilization rate. So the higher the utilization rate, the higher the APYs. It's mainly to prevent a bank run situation. So when the APYs go up and the borrowing APYs go up, that incentivizes people to close their borrowing positions and supply, to kind of keep the protocol secure, so to speak. So yeah, that's mainly why. So the reason why the APYs suddenly picked up is the supply dropped. Someone took out supply, and hence the borrowing over the supplied amount was very high. It was a high proportion, and that's why the APYs are high. So I think it's no one is managing it anything from the Omm side apart from the SICX borrowing rate, which obviously everyone knows why that's been happening. But everything else is to market conditions and nothing to do with Omm per se. That's what I basically wanted to add on that.
I have a question, if it's possible.
Yeah, sorry,
go ahead.
Yep.
If a smart contract was compromised on one platform, let's say balanced, would that transmit across all three platforms and compromise all three platforms, or would it just be specific to one?
Well, you have to keep in mind that balanced is a platform. If Optimus, for example, if you choose a balanced strategy in Optimus and balance is compromised, of course, your assets are also compromised because Optimus will be using your ICX on those two platforms at the moment, and there will be more in the future. So if one of those platforms, Optimus will not be able to save you because Optimus will have been using those platforms themselves. So this is one thing. Then between, for example, balanced and Omm, those are separate smart contracts, but where I see some risk is, for example, the shared SICX pool. That if there is something in that pool happening, but then of course it's not really the smart contract of balanced, because it's it's not a balanced pool in essence. The SICX, it's a pool that's shared across several platforms. Maybe if that's compromised, it could have effect over the other platforms as well. But otherwise,
as a following question, would there be in the future some kind of monetary fund as a backup for potential losses through a smart contract compromise?
well, there is a DAO fund, and if there is an exploit, I think that a vote, of course, will be put up, but it can only be used if the token holders agree that it will be used for this.
Okay.
But of course, token holders are probably also users of the platform, so it's likely that they will vote positively to use it in such a way.
Okay, cool.
And again, there are Omm pools, LP pools on Balanced, for example. So it could be, of course, if such a thing is compromised, that it also reflects on Omm as well. Or assets, if they're able to mint certain assets by breaching a smart contract on Balanced, and then using those created assets on Omm, for example, to borrow something else. And yeah, there's always risks that it can cross several platforms.
Okay, thanks a lot.
No worries.
And yeah, hopefully with with Immunify, the bounties, there'll be incentives for white hat, hackers to ascertain if there are risks involved, and hopefully keep the network secure, smart contracts secure as well.
Nothing is 100% safe, of course. You can never guarantee anything. The only thing I can say from myself is that I feel very confident in the platforms within the Icon ecosystem, because one, they are not rushed like many other projects do. They take their time, which sometimes frustrates the community. But if you are putting your money into it, I think it's a good thing that they are taking their time and not rushing it. If you see how other exploits, how many people have lost money from it. But also, again, if such a thing happens, we have seen within the broader community how fast also the exchanges work together to block those assets, making sure that they cannot be retrieving them, or they cannot be used to cash out in any way. So this is also the recent hacks that we have seen, even if it was a white hat hacker. I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised how the community as a whole reacted, and how easy it is to retrieve even funds. I thought it would be a lot harder.
Any strategies that we can give the community in terms of maximizing on the existing yields, Stephen, on Omm?
Yeah, that's always hard to say, because every strategy has its own risks. Many people, you have to manage, for example. It will depend how much time you have. Sometimes you have to, if you are willing to take a bit more risk, then you have to really look daily at your risk level to make sure that you do not get liquidated in certain strategies. In other strategies, you have impermanent loss, which you also need to understand what that risk involves. So I think people need to. It depends on doing the research, how well you understand all the risks at one, and how many risks you want to take. So giving a tip from, okay, this is the best yielding strategy. Yes, you can have a look at, because most of the LPs, you can see what it is, how much they are yielding at the moment. I think the Omm LPs are currently triple digits, which are the highest providing yield at the moment if you want to provide liquidity. but you need to understand what the impermanent loss is. Some people within the ecosystem still don't really understand it, looking at their reaction and being mad about certain things happening to them, which are inherent to the thing that they are doing at the moment, providing liquidity, which is normal.
I think the safest thing.
People just see dollar signs and they just like jump into something they've got no idea about, and then after a while they're going, "Why haven't I made any money?" Because of they don't completely understand it. And I think this is like an inherent problem of the whole DeFi system. Is that not everyone really understands it. They just see dollar signs and they just jump in, and they think they're going to make lots and lots of money. But you still have to understand it all, and you still have to have kind of like a basic understanding of what's going on. And I think this is where, the Omm Academy can come in and start educating people. But it's hard to get people to go and learn about something because all they want to do is just make money, and they're just like, I want to make money out of this. But I think the Optimus thing is actually quite an interesting concept as well, because it's it's taking something that people don't understand and putting it into even more simpler terms. And I think it can be a good thing, but again, people need to understand about all these different concepts, which, even though I've been doing in crypto since 2015, I still can't get my head around these new concepts which have come out just recently. But
DeFi.
I think this is a really good system for people to start off, and I think you should definitely have a sandbox system where people can just go in, put a test amount of money, and just watch how things work in a test and some sort of test environment, so that they can do it first before they go into the actual shark pond, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, I echo the same sentiments. I mean, that's why I think the Monks Academy, we really, we want to kind of have the concept of a bit of hand holding, kind of, so to speak, for users. So we don't want them to kind of, okay, here's a platform, put loads of money, and figure it out for yourself. We want the Monks Academy for the Omm protocol to kind of, you were here, we're here to help and here to educate you. So we want to be kind of, responsible as well. I mean, not just a DeFi platform that just.
And especially with like what we were talking about before, with the fact that smart contracts can be vulnerable, even though they've been audited. It doesn't mean to say that you're 100% safe just because you've been audited, because that's been proven wrong before. And people need to realize that you don't throw everything you've got into one thing because you see 180% APY and oh my god, people need to be educated about these kind of things as well. I think it's really important,
Yeah, and it's not
vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not just DeFi. I think it was a week ago. I think one of the senior engineers, so to speak, for Ethereum, he was asked the question of how much of Ethereum he's staked in 2.0, and he said nothing more than 10%. So that's they all understand the risk. I mean, with the DeFi, anything that you deposit, anything you put into a smart contract, there's risks involved. So yeah.
Anyway, just for me, it's been really interesting to listen to this talk, Stephen. I really appreciate being here, and thanks a lot. And I'm really looking forward to getting involved in another part of the Icon ecosystem. It sounds really cool.
You're welcome. Thanks for participating and asking your question. And then just to maybe to touch on what you were saying regarding Optimus, that you like it as an addition to the ecosystem, and also to make it even more easier for people to join, because they manage the positions, which is of course good, because people will not get liquidated, for example, or very much less likely if something like Optimus is managing their positions. But what I've also another danger that I'm seeing is that people are even educating themselves less in understanding the risks. And I see people aping into Optimus in, let's say, liquidity strategies when they are live. Not for the first two, because the first one doesn't have impermanent loss. But if there is a true with a high risk, for example, a stablecoin versus a volatile asset like ICX or BNUSD or BALN, for example, then there is impermanent loss. And impermanent loss you cannot prevent by managing it by an aggregator like Optimus. It's an inherent part of providing liquidity. And some people still don't understand that. I see questions being asked for, is Optimus able to prevent impermanent loss? Oh. And this is something that I'm also afraid of. And this is also why they are probably starting, or not probably, because I've asked them, this is the reason why they have chosen the least risky strategies to launch with. And they will gradually add more risky ones as well.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Anyone have any questions? We can wrap up. Otherwise, and hi, Digital Dave. Good to have you.
Shout out to Dave for covering the live session on Twitter.
He's a beast.
Right, Raj, I think we can wrap it up.
All right, thanks guys for listening in and joining in the session. Hope you found it useful. I'll have the recording up in a couple of days, so you can take your own time and go through it as well. And thanks a lot, Stephen, for your time and your insights. Very helpful. And have a great holiday. You're on holiday in a couple of days.
Yes, thank you. I will be seeing what Poopster left of Lisbon.
Oh yeah. Poops. There's something going on in Lisbon today or tomorrow. Is that correct? Oh, I think he's gone.
AFK.
All right. Have a good
boredom. All right. Take care.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.